So I made a video a while ago on the MiG-23 and I have to say it was one of the best aircrafts that I've ever flown in this game. It had one of the most unique flight performances at that time, and the armaments that it carried made it overall an amazing aircraft. Not only for the premium, but also the tech tree monster that we call it, the MiG-23 MOD. However, not so long ago, the flight performance of this aircraft was drastically changed to be more historically accurate. So how does it perform now? Is the flight performance butchered, or is it still workable? And last but not least, are they still worth it? Hello, ladies and gentlemen, hold on. Before I say anything, I apologize for the lack of uploads recently. I've been incredibly busy with the studies and whatnot, and I have a 1-month exam period, which it is intense and it is going to definitely change my life. So again, I apologize for not making videos, but this one is extremely necessary. The video production should be back in approximately a month, so don't worry about that. But outside of that, yeah, thank you for your patience, and thank you so much for your incredible support in the last 2 or 3 videos. It was absolutely amazing, dude. Anyways, today we will be taking a look at the major changes that the MiG-23 received since my last video, which, yes, also includes the Rita feature that they recently added on all MiG-23s and 27s. And yes, it includes the MiG-23BN as well, which I have to say, it is incredible, man. I have to say, when I made that video, I spent quite a lot of time learning the MiG-23 and its flight performance, not only in realistic battles, but also in sim. Playing these game modes more frequently teaches you a lot about how the radar works and how the aircraft behaves. If you want to understand this video more with regards to its history and its armaments, well, not much has changed, except that the base rocketing tactic is much less effective. You fucking leech. And currently on the MiG-23 ML, you're able to carry out the radar and IR guided variant of the R-24s altogether. You don't have this limitation anymore. However, with regards to its radar, on surface, it may not have been major differences, but a lot has changed since my last video. First of all, the ACM mode on the radar, both for the MTI and normal SRC, has changed to a significantly larger scan zone, from 4 to 24 degrees and 6 to 45 degrees. The infrared ACM is the only one that wasn't changed, and if you switch between them, you can clearly see the difference. Oh, and speaking of IRST, Gaijin has pretty much butchered the radar screen on this poor bastard. Like, I don't understand why these lines should be out of the radar zone in the first place. Why does that scanning thingy go outside of this? I'm too scared to ask questions anymore. And of course, let's not beat around the bush. The entire mechanism of radar selection mode has been drastically changed as well, or butchered to say the least. So here's my explanation on the MTI. The MTI directly measures the acceleration of the ground towards you and differentiates any tomfoolery in the scan, therefore identifying the targets. Now you see, since the MTI uses the ground as the reference, your radar must point towards the ground for the MTI in order to have an effective lock. Now this lock switch is manual in real life. In game, if your radar is pointed towards the air, your radar will be automatically switched to normal SRC. Now when you're locking at an enemy, your center radar is pointed at the target. If the selected radar target is at an angle that makes your radar look towards the ground, then your radar will switch to the MTI. There are some exceptions to this. For example, if the radar does not recognize the mountain in front of the target and only counts the horizon. And of course, when you're above the 1300 or 1400 meters of altitude relative to the ground, your radar will automatically switch to SRC, even if you're pointing at the ground, as apparently your altitude is too high for the MTI to function. Back then it was 1800, but now they reduced it even more. This makes the radar missiles situational, confusing, and a little bit iffy to use. But hey, just because your radar search modes are screwed over doesn't mean that your missiles are trash. The R-24R is still a very capable missile. If you launch it and the guy chaffs a little bit late, your missile will still follow the target, unless at a notching position or a rear aspect position, because, you know, the initial guidance of those guys have a certain limit. The ACM mode back in the days used to be incredibly snappy, but right now it's not gonna be fun to get used to. However, if you want to experience the old style of the ACM, you can always switch to the IRST first, lock them with the IRST ACM, and then feel free to switch to your radar, as apparently this thing has a nice IRST and radar integration. Nowadays, I have 2 presets for this aircraft. You either pick up full IR missiles with the R-24Ts, or you pick up the full radar R-24Rs, or you basically have an identity crisis. Back then, having the radar missiles was a major advantage, and I would have recommended you to pick up the R-24Rs over the R-24Ts. But right now, honestly, in my opinion, both of them them are as equally dangerous, at least if you got used to the radar one. Figure out your playstyles however you desire, as you can mount both of the radar and IR variants of the R24s. Now let's have a look at the flight performance. The flight performance has been drastically changed, but it's not as bad as I have expected it to be. Now, I classified all of the MiG-23s to 3 generations. Currently, the flight performance of the MiG-23 ML has been changed, but there are some core features that have remained since the Nerf. For example, at high speeds. One of the features that was incredible was the acceleration beyond Mach 1. This has remained mostly intact, and if you're going in a straight line, you're not really going to notice a lot of things. What did change was the amount of Gs you can pull, which went from 8 Gs to 7 Gs or 8 Gs, significant amount of speed loss when your wings are fully swept back, and the roll rate of this aircraft. And my god, especially the roll rate when you're at this speed and this wing angle, like, I feel like I'm a stock MiG-29. Hell yeah, suffering in real life. Oh, also, I don't understand what the hell happened recently. I think Gaijin broke it. Apparently, if your MiG-23 is really fast, the radar lock square has a bit of a desync. So the radar square that is, you know, the lock symbol is in front of the MiG-23 if you're at high speeds. So what basically happens is that your radar missile goes for the MiG-23. There are some occasions where it gets detonated, it doesn't get detonated. I don't know, sky flashes are not great, but I have successful connections with like vehicles, aircrafts that are quite fast, like Kafirs and whatnot, but every time there's a MiG-23 there, I don't know why. It's a server desync probably, I just cannot connect the missile to it. The second and third generation MiG-23s all behave the same with regards to their high-speed acceleration, with the first generation crying in the background. What all the MiG-23s have in common is their incredible wing sweep and their energy retention while the wings are fully open. Although the new wing sweep limitations that Gaijin has implemented on this aircraft can be a little bit confusing at the beginning. Right now you have 3 core wing profiles of the MiG-23s. The first one is fully swept back, which I already explained. The second one is halfway back, and the third one is fully swept forward. In fully swept forward, you have your best energy retention, and around 700 to 600 kilometers, you can retain your energy really well and still have a decent turn rate. And like, I don't call this decent, I call this amazing. This is where I feel like Gaijin didn't touch at all, because in Sim, the MiG-23 MLD is still much more stable than the MiG-23 ML at slow speeds. I wonder what would be the main cause of such stability. What did change though was the speeds that the wings start to rip. Babe, wake up. Gaijin has messed around with wing sweeps again. First off, when your wings are fully open, you're limited to a staggering 892 kilometers per hour. Once you go beyond that, the wings go into the danger zone. Totally not a Top Gun reference, by the way. If you stay long enough in this zone, you can pretty much rip your wings quite easily. The danger zone is between 892 to 1000 kilometers per hour. In the first generation, you're going to have a lot of problems with this, as your acceleration is not fast enough to surpass this. But the second and third generation MiG-23s have so much acceleration that oftentimes you will fly past this danger zone in a straight line. Oftentimes with 2 big quotation marks, by the way. And shortly after, they will retract themselves to stage 2. And of course, when you're energy trapping at like 920 kilometers per hour, the plane doesn't really want to retract its wings while turning, leading you to stay on this danger zone and go on a short trip to the hangar, because the game can't handle the wing sweeps properly. I'm looking at you, stock MiG-27K. But yeah, you get stuck in this awkward zone where like the game is screaming at you that your wings are about to rip and your speed is too high. So you either have to stay very slow or you have to constantly bash that semi-auto wing sweep control so you could basically handle the aircraft without ripping its wings. When your wings are swept forward and you're at around 850 and below, your roll rate is very good and does not have any kind of problems. Once you reach this level of wing sweep and this level of speed, your roll rate is gonna be worse than a stock MiG-29. And god, it pisses me off. Also, why do I feel like that Gaijin has recently changed the maximum wing rip speed on the MiG-23Ms? Oh, never mind, that's the wrong MiG-23. But yeah, outside of that, honestly, they're not really that bad after all. I mean, yeah, the radar has become a little bit iffy in most of the cases, but outside of that, I have to be real with you. If you know what you're doing in this plane and with this new radar and playstyle, you can still be dangerous to the enemy team. Not as dangerous as before, but still very promising. As for the final verdicts on the MiG-23s, I have to say the first generations are kind of meh, and most importantly, infuriating to play when you get them stock. Like, my god, I remember I was spading this thing in Sim, and I was going to pull my hair out when I realized that I can't even outspeed an American fucking school bus. An E variant, by the way. And when I learned about how to energy trap people with it, I kind of felt a little bit better about playing it. The second and third generations are still worth it, but as for the premium, I'm not sure if Gaijin is going to add another premium in the future, but if you can pick this up when a sale is happening, it is going to be absolutely worth it, especially recently where, I think it was like 2 or 3 days ago where this sale just ended. Yeah, that was a great opportunity to buy the MiG-23. It only needs some time to get used to, but outside of that, it should be all fine. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and share. Dislike it if you dislike it. I'm going back to studying, man, because I got a life to save, dude, okay? Anyways, thank you for watching.